We definitely saw instances where Variety wasn't able to do as much as Fineokay in the team fight, specifically around this 21-minute mark Gold Fury, where he went in, he had to disengage really quickly. Fineokay was able to create more havoc in the backline. That's just what Arthur is able to do with his 8 abilities. Camazot's only having the 4. But laning phase is a different story. Camazot's certainly winning that one, but it's about the team fights. Dignitas making up for the lack of team fight control by having Camazot's with the Artio for Trixtank that had also another great game. He was able to just control team fights rather well.
Rival do wind up on the losing side of that, despite how highly we're speaking about them. 53 minutes of regulation play, if I'm not mistaken, and Rival, fantastic defense. We were talking about it. My favorite was the duo lane. Arkyll and PolarBearMike taking on 3 players, and they both die, but it was enough to keep Ataraxia at bay and prevent the win for at least another 10 minutes. So an interesting look there. If I'm Team Rival and I'm trying to win 3 in a row, I think first and foremost, I'm going to put myself in the coach position. This is possible. I thank the format. I think best of 5 is really big, first of all, because you'd already be out of the game. But second of all, with Dignitas playing week number 1 and Rival having the bye, game 1 and game 2, so much different. Rival is now 100% warmed up, and it is absolutely possible for them to win 3 in a row here.
It could also be a mental block for them where they were in position to win that second game. They had their chances, but they were letting it slip through their fingers, and now they have to win these 3 games in a row.
Sure.
A very difficult challenge against such a prestigious team.
I love this decision from Team Dignitas, and I would like to see them return to the Camazots one more time. Not only because I like that strategy, but more importantly, I think it is bad practice to say, we tried it once, it didn't work, see you later. So Dignitas going to let King Arthur through a second time. I don't know if we're going to see the Snap Zotsk selection here, but trying to play against King Arthur, I think, is the hump that a lot of teams need to come over right now in the meta, and Dignitas trying to put themselves up to the challenge.
The double blink between Arthur for Fineokay and Achilles for CaptainTwig made it so difficult for Hurriwind on the Giannis. Regardless if he was Giannis or any other god, those 2 aggressive frontliners is what enabled such easy picks. It was back and forth where PandaCat was one target, and then it was Hurriwind on the other.
And here you see Dignitas, they hear you. They're going to strip away that Achilles. Well, it's going to be a nice look, taking that away from CaptainTwig. The Artio, the classic counter to King Arthur. I think we're likely to see that Artio in the hands of the solo laner.
In that last game, man, Fineokay popped off 80,000 player damage. I think he had
That's
the
absurd.
highest one in the game. 56-minute game, 32-29. It kind of seemed like one of my rankings, honestly, with that many kills. But it was a good hold from Rival defensively, where Dignitas, they found the Phoenixes, but they couldn't find the right opportunity to go in up until the very end when Rival got a little too frisky outside their base.
PolarBearMike discussing it with the boys right now. Arthur already locked in, and we're almost positive that Mr. Arthur will wind up.
I want to see an outwash. I want to see outwash for Rival. Hurriwind game number 1 was playing that outwash, I believe, and it made it a little bit easier to siege. But Isis is another way of controlling that space.
Love Isis in this meta for a number of reasons. And I'll bring it to the reason that I mentioned the most, not usually with respect to Isis. Heals against execute characters make me excited. Achilles winds up Fatal Strike. It takes 2 hours to get there, and then Isis heals her entire team above execute threshold, so all he does is get some bonus damage. Not a good situation to be Achilles.
Well, the thing is, Rival have been going for some very early Fire Giants. In game number 1, it was around the 23.5-minute mark. Game number 2, it was at 25.5. And with Fafnir and Isis, this is the objective control that you're really looking for. The coerce attack speed for your backline, and then that circle of protection to mitigate the damage received, and then heal up all the damage Fire Giant is dealing.
I mean, Isis, yeah, just one of the better confirmed characters, and Fafnir going to enable that DPS. The Opwash selected here for Dignitas across the way. So the immobile mage returns for Tyler.
I had a feeling we were going to see Outwash this game. I was expecting Rival to pick it, but I'm happy to see Dignitas as well. It's a great self-peeler between emptying the crypts. It just Kill or be killed is the name of the game about Puch. He doesn't have any movement speed modifiers.
Nobody
He doesn't
picked
have a...
AMC, Killer B.
You need to stop. Our Puch doesn't have any movement speed modifiers, doesn't have any gap closing abilities, so he purely relies on his damage to peel for himself. And you know he's going to need that damage when Achilles and Artio is going to be trying to dive the enemy backline in response.
Always got to watch out for that dab. Tyler looking about what's going on here. Oh, don't. I don't know if I'm happy or sad that the camera didn't catch you. Second round bans down, and everybody looking in the jungle. No Robin, no Dodgy, no Bradatasker, and no Sir Cat. Dignitas looking for the Hachiman. And I like this choice, less because I love the Hachiman, but because I don't want to see, Hachiman and Fafnir on the same team for Rival. That'll just over-enable their objective secure ability, and Hachiman will be taken away from the purple squad.
I mean, you never need to worry about mana problems when you're piloting this Hachiman. Outside of Jingwei, I'd say Hachiman is like the second safest god. And yeah, that would be a lot of attack speed for Rival. They don't need it now with the fact that they have Rama that's going to be relying on the pick-me-up steroid.
Last choice for Rival, looking for a jungler. We'll see what CaptainTwig is going to be playing.
I think it might be a Nemesis. If they're looking to really dive the backline, Nemesis is going to do a heavy amount of burst damage, and then if anyone escapes from that burst damage, Ram cleans up. That's normally the 1-2 punch between Ram and them.
Nemesis could be a thought process. Elsewhere, the Naja is not banned. CaptainTwig has a strong Naja. Naja can... So Naja's level 1 tank ability has been changed. And of course, we're actually, scratch that, we're still on the old patch. So Naja's still extremely strong. And it will be the Nemesis, as totally predicted.
It's a good point that you mentioned the Naja, though, because game number 1, Dignitas first pick, they were the ones that banned it right off the bat.
Exactly.
And game number 2, Dignitas were second pick. They banned it away. And so for whatever reason, I guess Rival just don't care about the Naja.
Be the Kali! QvoFred on the hyper carry. So I like the idea of the Naja specifically because it's able to interrupt Isis's wing gust and then deal with a lot of other things. You can take players out of the circle of protection with it, but the Kali just kills you. Think it's good enough?
I want to say yes. I think that front line from Dignitas is looking mighty scary.
I like Nemesis. We'll see if Nemesis likes Team Rival. Game 3 on the way. You've got Hindu and Taco standing by.
Thanks so much, guys, on the desk. Yeah, we've got a Game 3, which, honestly, when we come into this Game 3, I was expecting 1-1. We've had the first 30 minutes of Game 2, but it went another 30 minutes after that, and Dignitas came out on top. Picks and bans, Taco. Why is King Arthur still in this game?
Storyline all of their own. I mean, Dignitas saw the end-game stat screen, and I'm pretty sure Fineokay managed to just barely surpass that 60k mark as far as the player damage is concerned. He had a lot of influence as well over the early to mid-game, but maybe Variety just feels like he's going to be able to tackle it even better so with Achilles, as opposed to having that Camazot's last game. Achilles having that fatal strike for the execute might actually be that last little tick of damage that Variety was missing out on in the last match, but I love the Kali pick here from Cuvo.
Well, here we go. Rival, 2 games down in this best of 5. Dignitas up 2-0. And no wonder Trixie's giving it a shimmy right about now with how these 2 games have gone. I guess the reason they banned away the Kronos over King Arthur could be to do with this Kali. And I'm only saying that because, well, Kali, she's looking to get kills, and Arkyll has the ability to reset with a rewind on a Kronos. Maybe that's the reason they chose to let King Arthur through and look elsewhere.
Arkyll was also just surviving for so long in numerous team fights in the last game. And that was also part of the reason why Rival were able to stretch things out for so long, because PandaCat would typically die right at the very start, but because they had Arkyll to still rely on for that follow-up damage, Dignitas just couldn't find that final oomph to push into the base all the way until the very end there of that 60-minute mark. But these games have been going for so long that this Kali is also kind of a threat to Rival of, you guys need to end.
Arkyll up against Ataraxia. Ataraxia getting the better end at the start there relatively quickly. Speed buffs both go to Dignitas here. Variety and QvoFred have stolen away. The speed buff for QvoFred was secured by himself. Mike couldn't get that, but meanwhile Variety and Trixtank, I should say, have stolen away the speed, the back harpies, and now the blue buff on the right-hand side. Fineokay will get the blue buff of Dignitas's. It's a clown fiesta. Not really. It's all calculated for the most part. It just looks wild at this stage of the game.
Just a little bit of a janky start, I think, for Dignitas. They really wanted to buckle down, though, on this solo side pressure. And, I mean, after how things went last game against that King Arthur, if only somebody had been there to hold Ataraxia's hand. But CaptainTwig catching the Hachiman off guard right in front of his T2 tower as well.
This is what you need on a Nemesis, and there was a good call from Tully on the desk to suggest a potential Nemesis being picked up here this game. Early game for Twig goes off well. That first blood, 400 gold, will even out a bit of the jungle they lost in the early stages and give him the gold he's going to want to get his boots online.
And this really is a race against the clock in my mind. I know I just touched on it, but for real, you cannot go 40 minutes plus with a call lead.
Hurriwind didn't know there was a rotation coming. His beats were good, and he juked out the last bit of damage from PandaCat. But already, Rival collapsing. You even saw Arkyll was over here just in case. See if you could get into the fray. So Rival trying to take it to Dig early on here.
But they do get Hurriwind's beads in the process, and with all of the slows that Rival have to offer, I think that might be more problematic than hard CC, just because of the fact that it's Outwash and he's already so immobile as is.
The Outwash will cause some problems as the game goes on. Sustain can be hurt a little bit. Obviously, you'll get stunned if you sustain up, and there's a few gods that Rival have drafted that will be looking for that. Fineokay on the King Arthur again. Will we see 60,000 damage? We'll find out. The only difference is Achilles doesn't have as much sustain as a Camazon, so it might be a little bit trickier to do. But Variety going to try and hold his own in this lane with the Achilles.
And Arkyll, despite Ataraxia having been picked earlier on, still trailing a little bit here in the dual lane as far as experience is concerned. I think that that's also because of the fact that he might have split a little bit of that experience with CaptainTwig, so Ataraxia just has that slight edge over him for right now, but PBM making the wraparound. Fineokay wants this blue buff from Variety.
This is a 3v2, and I don't think Variety realized it as he dashed in, because Twig was just rotating up around the right-hand side as well. Variety will fall down. CaptainTwig claims a second life, and the blue buff is stolen away by Rival. Great little play from them.
And Qvo, he's over on this side of the map for the solo lane, but he's at his back harpies. And Mike with the Fafnir hammer steal. You saw it in the player cam, just shrugging it off, baby.
No problem. No problem at all. Rival off to a nice little lead at the beginning of this one. They're trying to help out Fineokay again. Let him hit this level 5 so he can start throwing out the ultimates consistently and keeping the pressure on the solo side of the map. A lot of pressure in solo tackle the whole game. All about speed buffs. It seems Hunters are being relatively left alone. They're just going to be careful about these rotations after the right-hand jungle's down.
For sure, and I think Ataraxia is playing a little bit more mindful after having been ganked so early on by CaptainTwig. I mean, when you consider that for the first 2 games, Ataraxia and Arkyll were pretty much left to their own devices, it can be surprising and catch you in that lull of false security, thinking that things are just going to continue the same way they always have been. But that's why you love seeing these sort of switch-ups from teams throughout a set. Team Rival haven't really been prioritizing dual lane pressure. Well, what does CaptainTwig do? Something that hasn't been done in the set so far, and he punishes Ataraxia for, I think, being a little bit, I don't want to call it careless, because as a hunter, I mean, you want to farm out your own buffs, and I think he was already just looking for his purple buff. It was just off guard. It was a complete surprise there from CaptainTwig.
A Rival then, Book of Thoth online for PandaCat in the mid lane playing Isis. Sometimes when we see these mid laners, you know, the new mid laners, so to speak, who move from the Hunter role, we've seen a few over the years, they generally stick to the likes of Souls and Kronos and maybe some sprinkle of Freya here or there. But not PandaCat. So far, Giannis, Discordia, Isis. 3 gods that, well, they're real true mages, you know, the ones that you will see in the mid lane quite a lot. But it shows he's been practicing and he's prepared for almost anything.
He's not a one-trick.
It seems odd, right?
That's safe to say.
Yeah.
When you deepen up your god pool for this moment, I mean, it's important, though, because it's allowing Rival to run a lot of different compositions.
The last time the blue buff spawned, it was Rival that found a kill, took it away. This time, Dignitas have got Trixtank over here instead, but he's only level 4, and no sign of the Carly. QvoFred's actually at the red buff, so Trix can't really stop this whatsoever, unfortunately for him. Instead, he's just going to take a bit of poke damage as the team on the left gets the buff.
Something else I really like about this Isis pick, though, from PandaCat is that now he finally has the range to just sit super deep in the back line and free cast, clear the waves, no problem whatsoever. Hurriwind reserved to his own tower line, not looking to overstep his boundaries, completely under the impression that if he moves outside of that T1, PolarBearMike, PandaCat, Twig, they're all going to look to collapse him.
Rival really trying to keep the pressure going. They take away the Oracles, left on Harpies too. Got pretty good secure at Gold Furies and Fire Giants with this Isis as well. Circle of Protection, beautiful for detonation to secure the last hit. And a terrible situation for Dignitas to want to fight into that either. Rival are all about trying to focus the early game now and not let Dignitas get into it. Speaking of the Gold Fury, here we go. Round 1.
But it's only Trixtank looking to play defense. Qvo trying to make his way over in time, but Trixtank, he's just going to be made the focus instead. Coerce has come through from PolarBearMike, but now Qvo's rotated back in.
Qvo will be here, but Fineokay does take down Trixtank. Twig blinks towards the mid lane as the fight's still underway. QvoFred has to ult, and he doesn't have a pickup of a kill at all. So it's another 2 kills for Rival, but the Gold Fury is still alive. I was a little bit concerned there, Taco, because PandaCat using that circle of protection for a kill. I thought there was a chance Dig might be able to turn that around there, but it wasn't to be.
He saw Fineokay wrapping in for the flank and knew that Fineokay would be able to clean up the pieces if he just got the damage out there. So I actually like the placement, and plus Hurriwind wasn't available just yet. Hurriwind not having an opportunity to make his way in there to threaten presence changed that.
Right, he's got to be a bit careful here. CaptainTwig over here with the speed buff as well. No ultimate available for him, but he will block one escape route with the ultimate from Variety. So Variety will go back towards his team, looking to get away from Twig. Will Twig see him in time? No is the answer. He's more interested in the blue buff, but there's 3 members of Dignitas here, and Variety's coming back in.
4 members of Dignitas, and emptying the crypts has already been unleashed.
Go.
CaptainTwig, though, stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Nowhere left to run. Back up against the wall, quite literally, and Trixtank gonna clean him up for it.
Can we just notice one thing that Dignitas did there? Beautiful rotation from Ataraxia. He realized that Dignitas were all moving to the blue buff, so Ataraxia comes mid to soak up the experience that would have been wasted there, and they've not really lost too much in the jungle so far. PolarBearMike might look for a cheeky purple, but I think he knows he's got a few members of Dignitas on this rotation.
PBM backing off as he should. Arkyll, though, hasn't spotted out Trixtank. Arkyll still has the ultimate available. Could go up into that final barrage to try and buy himself some time for the rest of Rival to rally up in.
1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and that's going to get the ultimate out of QvoFred. But Qvo, with his ultimate of his own, will secure the kill on Arkyll. He bought time, but no one really from Rival was in a position to support PolarBearMike and Arkyll there. Too far forward, Dignitas get themselves a kill.
And this purple buff still has not been taken. Now CaptainTwig looking to play aggressive on it, does manage to steal it away, but it's got to be careful now. Look at all that poke from Hurriwind already.
I'll tell you what, that hammer from Mike there was actually really important, because Twig was just about to get crippled out by Trixtank on that Artio. And just as that hammer came through, it allowed CaptainTwig to slip the net of the grasp that Trixtank had on him and dash away to safety, escaping a pretty dangerous situation there that could have been a 4v3 in terms of kills.
And now Rival, they're going to have to wait a little bit longer before this Gold Fury can be looked at. Dignitas have already shown that they're planning on keeping vision heavy on this duo side of the map. I think that Dignitas has also done a pretty solid job at re-obtaining their own blue buff timer, but that hasn't made it so that Variety is completely out of danger just yet. Fineokay is still pushing into him. It's like his W key is the only one that exists on his keyboard right now.
Yeah, so far with how this game's gone, it's Rival up in the mid lane in experience and the support role in experience. Everyone else is relatively even until CaptainTwig catches QvoFred trying to get the blue buff on the right-hand side in his own jungle. This pressure from Rival at the blue buff has been consistent.
And it hasn't been the only spot that Rival have been trying to focus out Dignitas on. Now Trixtank trying to confirm his own red buff. Will get it, but in the process gonna lose his life.
See Hurriwind there, back in the back. He had no mana whatsoever. Awkward timing of situation for Dignitas to be there without reinforcements, with Qvo already dead. Rival is starting to take the grasp of this game. But we said that in game 2, Taco. And Dignitas do have a composition in late that could come back. Rival will get the Gold Fury. Circle of Protection was just detonated in time.
It's the thought that counts, Ataraxia.
Respect it.
The only thing he can do in that position is drop the Heavenly Banner, even though you know there's like a 99% chance that Circle of Protections is going to confirm it.
Well, this purple buff, last time Mike and Arkyll were here, they got picked, and that ward will show QvoFred. And immediately, Mike and Arkyll change their mind. They fall back a little bit, hammer out with Mike, didn't find it, but that's the pressure relieved for the time being. Have Rival got a clock to worry about in this game? Are they worried about Carly getting to the late game?
Yes, very much so. It's not even just the Kali either. It's also the Puch that you have to remember can be a very heavy late game force. Even Ataraxia, I think, on the Hachiman, because Hachi is so in-hand based, I think that there's a lot of late game carry potential from him as well.
Does Rama not balance that one out, though, between the two? Like, Rama, Hachi should be even, right? I'm looking at, like, when you look at matchups, you're looking at Rama versus Hachiman. Then you're looking at Isis versus Puch. I feel as the game goes on, Dignitas do have a slight lead in their favor because it's a Kali.
I think I would rather have the Rom, personally, because Rom can just sit up in that Astral Barrage for so long, and it's not even necessarily for finding last hits or anything like that, but
survive.
You can just use it for vision as well.
Good point. Good point indeed. With the Gold Fury round for Rival, though, their gold lead is about 4,500 right now, as it stands. There's a little look at Fleet Breath and the detonation abilities. Well, not detonation, I should say, just anti-heal abilities, which will force a stun. And a little look in at CaptainTwig.
I will say, though, we had a couple of question marks seeing Twig lock in that Nemesis last, but it has paid off massively so far for Rival. They've been able to build up arguably the biggest lead we've seen this early on in the set between these two teams, and it's looking hot for Rival, but can't get too ahead of themselves. I think that was what came back to bite them last game, is that they got a little bit too ahead of themselves, really felt like they were going to confirm that Fire Giant, and it just kind of crumbled from there. But now I think that they're making sure to really watch what comes after their initial go-in.
Sure, and I think that's what we saw actually, Taco, because we didn't see them invade the blue buff that time round. Instead, they went, hey, we've got a 4K lead, let's not overdo it. Big fight in the solo lane between the two, and it's not going to go Variety's way as Twig is here, but Twig's blink is on cooldown. He won't be able to get in range at the moment, but Variety still being pressured. Fineokay's doing a very good job on this, Arthur. It is King Arthur, but it still requires some ability to play.
Variety has definitely sustained a decent amount, though, and with Trixtank having made the rotation in, Ward going to quickly spot him out. Twig knows that that's the time to disengage. Meanwhile, PolarBearMike just kind of heckling Quvo, looking to slow him down, not really trying to let this Kali run every which direction that she pleases.
Got to keep an eye on Hurriwind's mana bar as this game goes on, because at the moment he's not got any. Trixtank took way more than bargain for. PandaCat with a full combo there connecting, just making sure Trixtank realizes he can hit those abilities, and if he's not going to have magical resistance yet, he better be careful about taking on this Isis.
PandaCat also can afford to drop a Circle of Protections because Gold Fury's already down. Fineokay, diving Variety. We've seen this one before, but Quvo comes in with a beautiful stun on the CaptainTwig.
Excalibur will get the kill from Fineokay, but after the fact, QvoFred is still here. No stun available as PolarBearMike transforms and gets the ultimate out. Keep an eye on PandaCat. He's waiting. He's looking for a Spirit Ball. He won't find it. The leap away. The silence is good, but there's no Wingus follow-up available. QvoFred slips to the net. The tier 1 tower on the right-hand side is a different story.
I wish Panda would have just walked around the blue buff wall
there,
instead of standing inside of the pit. Maybe concerned that a rotation from Dignitas would have been able to cut him off and kill him, but Fineokay was going to get that T1 tower no matter what. I definitely think he might have been okay with his positioning there. And at the same time, this is where things could really start to take off for Rival, because now with all this solo side map being opened up here, Fineokay doesn't have to stick around any longer. He can now start looking to make these rotations that are going to cause, I think, a huge dampering onto Dignitas' farming patterns early on. And this Gold Fury, it's only got about a minute left until it's back up again.
And you're looking at the actual, look at experience between the two teams. Everyone on Rival has a small, if not big lead up against their opponent directly, at least a level or two in every single role at the moment. They've got to keep this going though, and as you said, that Gold Fury, or the next Fury that's going to spawn, could be quite an important one. If they can find this, the lead starts to grow further. And if it gets, like, 7, 8K at this stage, that's a monumental lead in the world of Smite in Season 6.
But Dignitas doesn't have much of a choice other than to try and butt heads with Rival here around this next Oni Fury. If they let the Oni Fury go down for free, Rival are going to start separating, I think, their lead.
All in on Trix, and Trix is caught between a rock, a hard place, and his tier 2 tower. He's escaping to the best of his ability, but Twig is still there and will bring him down. Cancel that. Arkyll with the snipe will secure.
KS.
All the while, though, Variety will take a tier 1 on the right-hand side. It should be a surrender situation in this Gold Fury, or Oni Fury, I should say. QvoFred doing a bit of split pushing of his own. They're looking for a tier 1 in mid. He may be able to get this before the minions expire and reinforcements arrive. He'll err on the side of caution, however.
Kivo didn't even want to take the chance, but it looks like he might not have a choice. CaptainTwig still looking to give chase. Variety going to blink in for backup.
PolarBearMike's hammers have been beautiful time and time again so far. They say he sent so many people. Variety ulted away, but only into the clutches of Fineokay, who wasn't needed.
No way.
And a chinky fire giant at 16 minutes.
QvoFred, he's still lurking. The rest
know.
of Dignitas are going to be aware of this now. They're going to start making their way back in. PandaCat's got the ultimate, though. Circle of Protection is it.
And Quvo does not contest it. Fineokay, meanwhile, has found Hurriwind in mid. And sure, there's Crips, but go join them, my friend. Hurriwind will die too. Fire Giant, 16 minutes in. Rival get a Pyro. This is getting out of control quick.
Now, I'm not going to say that King Arthur is a problem, Hindu, but King Arthur is a problem here for Dignitas. 15k damage already. Essentially 1k damage a minute. That's how you have to look at it, is that this man has been distributing L's left, right, and center for Dignitas every single time that they try to approach him.
Normally when I see player damage from a solo lane attacker, I'm always like, well, it doesn't really matter too much because you're whacking on another warrior. However, he does have he's been involved in 6 kills. 3-0-3, he's undead so far. This damage is impactful. It's taking people out of the fight. It's allowing Rival to start to abuse the whole map. And with the Fire Giant, I don't know how Dignitas get back into this. I mean, they do have Outwash on defense, which is very useful for these sort of situations.
But not if the Outwash can die in 2 seconds, because Fineokay, PolarBearMike, and CaptainTwig are just allowed to dive him, which I think could very well be the circumstance that Hurriwind's about to be facing off against. And if Dignitas aren't careful, this level 13 Outwash is not going to be the defensive boon that they're hoping for.
There's only 2 tier 2 towers remaining as Fineokay says, hey, Variety, I saw you do this last week. Let me have my own little cheeky go at doing it. As he takes on Trixtank, who went forward on his own. The rest of his team kind of abandoned him. And PolarBearMike ramps from the back. Ataraxia and Hurriwind goes, sorry, bro, you're on your own. And Fineokay says, hey, Trix, you like that ultimate? Have another.
Didn't they he just used that?
Shh.
Like 10 seconds ago.
It's okay. It's okay, don't worry about it. 11-2. I was worried for Rival coming into this third game. After a 60-minute game, previous one where Dignitas were behind considerably, Rival had it by the scruff of the neck. I thought they may struggle, but they're really taking it to Dig now.
But I think Dignitas also took a little bit of a risk throwing Quvo onto the Kali here. They have a 2-game lead. This is your wiggle room to experiment with.
That's true. I like that call. It's not doom and gloom for them at this moment, but they've got to defend a Phoenix here. Ataraxia eats a lot of damage, and I believe he had to beads, and he did. Meanwhile, now they're going to start to whittle away on the Phoenix in mid. Mid lane, sorry. CaptainTwig's also doing work there, and Dignitas need to make a call on who to go on.
But they're so split. PandaCat's going to already make things even worse, too, bringing down Variety. And now Quvo, forced to play defense against CaptainTwig, eats a little bit more than what he probably would have liked to. Fineokay, by the way, I'm just going to blink in at 40% health, and you're going to have to run away for it.
Yeah, QvoFred still had his ultimate, but it did cost him his beads there. Both Phoenixes at half health. They're still full health. They've not been taken down yet, so they're still pretty tanky. But the Fire Giant does help them out with that. Fineokay getting some time with some minions on the middle lane as Twig on the right is causing some problems. The Crips have been emptied. Is helping out Trixtank, but the snipes from Arkyll. He found the first, the second off the mark, the third is guaranteed. QvoFred does take Fineokay down, however. That middle lane Phoenix still alive. And this right-hand one is still alive. Arkyll might get enough time on it. It's getting very low. Trix will block the shot. Both Phoenixes are still alive.
Hurriwind's dead. And those Phoenixes are just right at their final living moments. But they've made it. They survived. Dignitas held on despite the massive lead that Rival has. I think that Fineokay probably should have stopped trying to split push in mid and just rejoin forces with the rest of Rival on that right-hand Phoenix. I think if Rival had full-on committed to either mid or the right side Phoenix, they get one or the other. Ideally both, because they probably would have been able to kill even more members from Dignitas had Fineokay been with them on that right-hand side. But at the same time, you can't get too pressed over Fineokay making the choices that he did. He helped to bring Quvo away from the fight, and there's no telling what a Kali might have been able to accomplish.
It's a boon for Dignitas, having all 3 Phoenixes up. But the lead in gold is something completely different. It's 13,000 gold, 13,000 experience in 20 minutes. This is an uphill battle for Dignitas. We said they've got an Outwash. They can hold the defense a little bit. But Rival are just so far in the lead right now. Dignitas just going to try and hold on as long as possible and maybe frustrate Rival a little bit here.
Arkyll also has the Wind Demon and the Poison Star online, by the way. And these are devastating crit chance blows that could start factoring in here on Dignitas' defenses also, especially if Arkyll is able to target out whoever CaptainTwig manages to isolate.
Fire Giant respawning. And it's still not an enhanced one, by the way, because it's not 25 minutes
So
in the
early.
game. So we will get another Fire Giant for Rival here.
But to be fair, this is exactly what Rival needed to do. They needed this early to mid-game to be their ultimatum here against Dignitas, because if this match goes to that 40, 50, 60-minute mark that we've seen these teams skirting between, that is where Qvo starts to have a little bit more of an impact and could really cause a huge stopping blow to Rival here.
I've got to say, PolarBearMike, though, 0-0-12. He's been involved of 12 of the 13 kills Rival have had. His hammers have been so impactful in this game to shut down and set up for his team. It's credit to him. Variety gonna blink to PandaCat, get the beads out of that. Silence use and shell use too. Into the sky goes Arkyll, looking for a potential snipe target on Ataraxia. Can't find it with the last shot though and has to roll away. Fineokay front line in, forced back again. Everything's okay for Dig. The Phoenixes are still okay.
I think that's the first one Arkyll didn't find, the kill-in off of the Astral Barrage. Good attempts though, still gets the relics out of Hurriwind, or at least his... Oh no, actually these are still up.
Mike goes in with Fineokay too. Trixtank on the front line, takes half his health, but Phoenix still standing. Backline PandaCat working hard, and Circle of Protection will detonate an Achilles. Meanwhile, CaptainTwig and QvoFred trade ultimates in the mid lane. Middle lane Phoenix still alive. Right hand Phoenix still alive.
But this is worse, I think, for Dignitas than what it is for Rival. They still have ample time here on this Fire Giant. Arkyll's going to be able to resustain a decent amount. Without the Circle of Protections, though, Rival are going to have to be a bit more mindful, but doesn't seem all that concerning for PolarBearMike, as he's willing to jump right in for that tail end of his Draconic Transformation.
Mike got a good little combo there onto Hurriwind and Ataraxia, but no further follow-up was available. Spirit Ball won't hit. Trixtank detonated a little bit too early from PandaCat. The body blocks from Trix keeping the Phoenix alive for now. Phoenix is down, but Qvo's in, and Qvo already takes out Arkyll. He turns to one Twig, and Twig uses the shield to sustain back up and force Qvo back. Rival turn tail, they get the Phoenix.
But they get the base breach that they were after, and Arkyll knew what he was doing there. He willingly sacrificed himself to bring down that right side Phoenix. I think it was also just getting tired of Dignitas keeping their birds alive for so long, and that's also, I think, an instance where Arkyll can afford to play more aggressively because he knew the ultimate from QvoFred was down.
Do you reckon it's because he wanted to base quicker so he could buy items? Think about it.
Didn't have to help his team bring down the Firemancer. I mean,
it makes sense, right?
I could see it.
See, I always look for excuses for when people die, and that's a really good one for Arkyll. I just wanted to buy real quick.
I prefer the mobile ward.
Mobile ward?
Mobile ward. Just trying to give some vision to the boys.
Just a little bit here and there. Dignitas set up around the red buff of Rival here. They're looking for somebody to come and pick it up and trying to set up a bit of a trap. PolarBearMike, though, in mid lane, going to pressure the minions instead. And Dignitas don't like the look of that. A couple of members of Rival missing, so they fall back to their own half of the map. The gold is still at the same state right now, and the Fire Giant, just with Arkyll being dead, there's not much more Rival could have done at the moment, but they can start turning their attention to the left and middle of the map.
And I just gotta say, I think this Isis pick is working out so well
It's
for
really good,
PandaCat
isn't it?
right
Yeah.
now. He's got so much self-peel between the silence, the wing dust being immune to knockups, and also the Spirit Ball alone has been some great setup tools that Rival has been able to pick off a lot of Dignitas members from. But the most important part out of everything for me on this Isis, it's the range. It all comes down to the range. PandaCat has been cyberbullied now by Dignitas 2 games in a row, made the target, made the focus point, and Rival lost both of those games. Well, PandaCat's been living for this entire game, hasn't had a single death yet so far, been a participant to half of the team's kills, and I really do feel like Dignitas just aren't able to apply the same pressure they once had.
Well, here we go again. It's a 4-1 split. Both junglers in the mid lane trying to make sure the other doesn't get an advantage, but Twig has had enough of that. He blinks in to the left-hand side, gets the ult off on Hurriwind and dashes back away. Arkyll trying to whack on the Phoenix, but with no minions, it takes a little bit more damage than bargained for. Pressure relieved for a moment as Rival reset.
Hurriwind's a seasoned mid laner though, Hindu, and he knew that it was just a fake out from CaptainTwig, trying to force that Outwash ultimate preemptively so that Rival could just quickly reset, disengage, wait for that Empty the Crypts to be over, and then look for that left side Phoenix push. But because Hurriwind didn't fall for the bait, it's now going to be Rival just falling back to pick up another Oni Fury.
Now the Oni Fury will allow some extra minion support to come into play a little bit on the right-hand side with fire minions that will be enhanced even further, and also in the mid lane and the dual lane as well. We'll see if they can make use of that. But is this game really just going to come down to when does Hurriwind use this ultimate, and can Rival bait it out early enough?
Well, Dignitas have already managed to hold on long enough for QvoFred to hit level 20, and he's got a lot of the core Kali items online as well. So Rival, pressure's on them now, I feel, to really make sure that they are taking care of Arkyll and PandaCat, because if either of those two goes down, I think the rest of this Rival composition might begin to crumble.
I don't want you to start worrying if you're a Rival fan right now, but this is around the same sort of time that Rival started to lose game 2, or I saw it slip away.
Don't
from
remind them, Indu.
so to speak. Dignitas have a chance to do it again, but it's a much trickier situation from their point of view. Rival definitely in a huge lead. Just gold alone is monumental. As QvoFred took a trade in mid, and all preemptive beads from Qvo. Didn't work out so well there, but he knew he had backup coming.
That's huge.
PolarBearMike.
And PolarBearMike, he's not done yet either. Still looking to push Dignitas even further back still. CaptainTwig, now with Arkyll and the entirety of Rival surrounding this Fire Giant, they're going to go ahead and pull it. With this crit build, though, Arkyll is making quick work of this FG.
Well, Phoenix has respawned. QvoFred flanking around the back. Circle of protection down. Boom goes the Fire Giant. Rival get it. Hurriwind taken to the sky by Fineokay and the Excalibur. Arkyll's already up looking for the snipes, and PolarBearMike will get the kill. But on landing, it's QvoFred that's in the mix looking for the chop damage. He gets PandaKill. He gets Arkyll. And he's going to fall down to Fineokay. PolarBearMike trying to breathe fire onto Variety and get the support from Fineokay and Twig. It's frontline versus frontline, but Ataraxia is still alive and kiting to the best of his ability.
To the best of his ability, but CaptainTwig's got that blink, and he is moving forward with it. Beats have been popped, though. Now it's Fineokay toggling the offensive. Trixtank going to end up falling as well. Full on Dia's side about to happen here against Team Dignitas, and Rival, they've got the openings. This might just be it.
It should be. I mean, there's fire minions on the right-hand side. The weakened Phoenix, left-hand Phoenix up. Respawn times of 10 seconds on Hurriwind. Can they end without Hurry getting up? I think they can with a fire minion wave for sure. We're going to a game 4.
It's going to be close, but when Hurriwind respawns, he's not going to have that Empty the Crypts either.
Nope.
But this Titan is just melting with all these minions here to boot. Hurriwind, try as he might. These are 3 tanks. They're not going down.
Can someone just check Mike's PC for an aimbot on the hammer? Because that's insane. I feel like he hit every hammer on cooldown.
It's the sleeve, the arm sleeve. You put it back on, that's when you know business is happening.
Well, the one thing you've learned about Rival after that game is that you put them under pressure, they will turn up and fight back into it. Dignitas were up 2 games to 0. The gap has been closed a little bit. It's not doom and gloom for Dig. As you said, they had a chance to experiment a little bit. They ran the Kali. Was Kali the issue?
I don't think that Kali was the sole issue. I think that, honestly, Rival just played their composition to its strengths the whole way through, and Dignitas were just unable to respond when they needed to because their early game was weakened a little bit by the Kali. I also think that it was mostly just coming down to Fineokay having way too much presence on that King Arthur. He's got to go. King Arthur cannot be allowed through if Dignitas don't want this going all 5 games.
Definitely excited as well to see how Isis continues to perform, at least with PandaCat. I mean, Panda's had a pretty good set so far. You know, 3 games, 3 different majors. How you feeling?
Not a one trick. I mean, PandaCat's looking pretty hot on the Isis, and I hope that they continue giving him gods with range because I think that that is going to be one of the main reasons why Rival keep fighting back into Dignitas.
Well, we're guaranteed one more game. Let's go to the desk to break down that one.
Arthur, baby.
Part
That's
of it.
See you later.
No, it's part of it.
No, that is definitely part of it. But I think the adaptation that we saw, the backwards adaptation. Game number 2, Dignitas allow Arthur to go through. And they have a mitigating factor with the Camazots. We were talking about how that's been the tech that's been exciting me personally for a while. So with that in mind, it didn't go Arthur's way. He didn't run the game. But here in game number 3, they let Arthur go through, and he kind of had a huge impact.
He did. He absolutely did, but the difference between game number 2 and 3 was the jungler pairing up with the Achilles that was picked early. The Kali is just too late game focused. You're not able to really make that same kind of early game impact, whereas game number 2, it was the Camazotz and Ratataskers. So you have more global pressure to assist in that solo lane. There was a lot of back and forth action in that game 2 solo lane specifically because of that global pressure. So lacking it this time around, Dignitas didn't get to that late game that they needed to really allow Kali to come online.
If Artio finds her way into the hands of Variety instead of Trixtank, I think again Fineokay doesn't get to go 7-1-7. He doesn't get to go off and become the legendary king. So I think that if you're going to let Arthur through, you have to have some sort of mitigating circumstance, either an earlier game jungler to enable Variety to get these kills against Fineokay, or the new Camazotz tech or something. This seemed like game number 2, Dignitas allows Fineokay to grab King Arthur, and they have a game plan for it. Game number 3, they allow Fineokay to grab King Arthur, and they don't have a game plan for it.
So that player on your screen, Benjamin Knight, CaptainTwig, playing the Nemesis, did a fantastic job finally in this set to get his team back into the game. Killing Ataraxia very early in the game allowed Arkyll to get to that late game Ram form that he needed to, control the laning phase, build his stacks that he wanted to, and just transition that lead to the rest of the map.
Yeah, no, definitely CaptainTwig, King Twig, certainly a big part of what was able to happen. 4-1-10 for the Nemesis jungler here. Again, let's zoom out away from the X's and O's real quick and just look at the everything else side of things, because real talk, I kind of believe in what I was alluding to before this game started, where Dignitas got a chance to warm up. Rival have used these 2 games, and now that Game 3 Rival looks, if you show me Game 3 and Game 1, they look like 2 very different teams.
I agree. I think a lot of it came down to the composition as well, the play style, the comfort level, being able to abuse the early game presence of this Nemesis and King Arthur combination, just outweighing the Kali jungle. I think QvoFred needs to rely on more early to mid game gods, or at least have some sort of safety into your solo lane. Like Achilles up against Arthur. It's not a terrible matchup, I think, for the Achilles, but you need to pick mostly the Artios or the Camazotz of the world to win the laning phases.
Ugh. Look at that. The old dabaroon. Tully's favorite move, right?
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of a dab.
He did it again!
I don't know what you're talking about.
He did... You're gonna
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, I'm gonna make sure production has like a replay cam on you, just so we can show it. I think that's
sure. I don't know if that'll help.
Anatoly, folks. So right now, in between our game 3 and 4, we generally give the players a break. That's why I'm harassing Tully about his dance moves, which are not very good. So we're going to get back to the games in just a moment. But again, this is the scariest part now for Team Dignitas. I think they needed to close this set out in 3 games, because now Rival are online.
Well, they got some footing under themselves, but the problem is they still need to win 2 more for Rival.
Yeah,
and that's a difficult challenge. Dignitas are no strangers to closing out sets. Winning in Season 4, Valencia was a great look for them. Granted, they didn't have the full 5 that they have now, losing Zeros and also losing out Arkyll, but I think this is still a solid roster of 5 players that can easily close it out. They beat out Space Station Gaming. They made it look not easy, but they closed out the first 2 games up against Rival. Game 3 was looking like totally something else. I just think that they need to look back at their composition.
I'll go on the other side. I think that Team Rival also no strangers to getting out there and winning from behind. PolarBearMike and PandaCat have won a number of sets from behind, coming looking for the potential reverse sweep. I think it's absolutely something that Rival have in their wheelhouse. Again, I'm gonna lean on PolarBearMike here. He is your ring-having champion. He is the guy that's going to take this team and deliver a reverse sweep, if at all possible. We'll see if that's going to happen. We'll be right back with some more action after this.